Hello, sharks. I'm Jonathan Little for PokerNews.com. If you want all the poker news, check out PokerNews.com. Today, we're going to be reviewing a hand from Rosey of Next Gen Poker. These are the three musketeers of poker video blogging. Make sure you check them out on YouTube at youtube.com/nextgenpoker. Go there, click like, click subscribe, and also check them out on TikTok. They may be the most popular people on TikTok in the poker space. So go there, check it out. They make a lot of great content. I was actually fortunate enough to hang out with him a little bit while I was in Las Vegas last time, and it was a blast. All right, let's take a look at this hand from 1-2 No Limit Hold'em in Texas.
First hand for me, we got Ace Jack of Diamonds under the gun +1. I raise it up to $15.
Playing 1-2 No Limit Hold'em, $15 raise is gigantic, 7.5 big blinds. That said, everything is bigger in Texas, so I am told. And that includes pre-flop raises. People will call the $15 pre-flop raise with all sorts of nonsense. And if that is actually true, then that size is probably great. However, if they're going to fold out their junky hands to a $15 raise, like Ace-7 offsuit and King-6 suited, you'd much rather use a small raise. So be careful with the idea that my opponents will call my big raises no matter what, because you don't actually mind getting called if your opponents are going to play poorly post-flop, right? So definitely consider experimenting with bigger bet sizes if your opponents are calling stations, but I think you're going to find that a lot of the hands you really want to call you, the hands that are in really bad shape, will start folding out as you make it bigger and bigger. But for all I know, this could be the very optimal raise size in these games.
We only get one caller, and it's from the big blind. And this is an interesting spot already because he had just lost his whole stack. He had his aces cracked by a guy who rivered a gutshot. So he is tilted, he is steaming.
That is good, relevant information. If your opponent is loose and splashy to begin with, and then they get unlucky, you're going to find that a lot of people in that scenario lose their minds when they actually do get unlucky. Some people, when they get unlucky, they're just not going to care. Usually the more tight, cautious players will be like, yeah, well, they'll be mad, but they're not going to do anything about it. So you always want to try to figure out when someone gets unlucky and gets perhaps tilty, if they'll actually go on tilt or if they will just sit there and be mad. Because some people will lose their mind and just immediately try to win their money back as they're thinking in their minds. And against those players, make a hand and buckle up. But against the other players who just are going to be annoyed about it and not change their strategy too much, not a whole lot actually changes.
We're going heads up to a flop, which comes 10-7-4 with 2 diamonds. So he checks to me. We got the nut flush draw, 2 overcards, backdoor straight draw. We're having fun here. We c-bet for $15. He check raises me to $55.
All right. We found a nice, tough spot here. We have the ace-high flush draw, blocking some of the very obvious flush draws, like, say, Jack-9 of diamonds, right? But our opponent could be on tilt, playing $300 deep, so $250 more or so. I guess actually $230 more. I want you to take a second, think about this spot, and then write in the comment section below what you would do here. Go ahead, pause the video, and write what you would do below. Would you fold the ace-jack of diamonds because you're the weakest, tightest knit in the world? Would you call and try to get there? Would you re-raise small to $110 minimum? Or would you rip it all in and pray to get lucky? Pause the video and write what you would do in the comment section below. All right, did you do it? I hope so. Going through this active learning process is going to go a long way to helping you improve your poker skills. And if you want to take a whole bunch of other quizzes, kind of like this one, head over to pokercoaching.com/free, where I have a lot of them ready for you right now. This is a spot where I think your only options are really to call or shove. I don't really like shoving, though, because in this spot, if your opponent actually is on tilt, they could have all sorts of nonsense. And if they do have some really bad nonsense, like let's say 8-5 of spades, you don't really care if they stick around in the pot. You just have to be kind of call happy. Also, if you shove, they're never going to fold a good hand, and they can have a lot of hands like Queen 10 of diamonds here that actually are in pretty good shape. So I don't think we want to shove. Calling's fine, right? I mean, call and try to get there. It's nice, easy strategy. Anytime you're getting very good pot odds immediately to try to draw, that's always a viable option. We're not folding, clearly. If you said fold, then check out pokercoaching.com/fundamentals. It's a free course that'll teach you the fundamentals of poker, like don't fold good draws. And should we click it back? I think click it back is an interesting option I would usually never take, but it could be good here if you can click it back and get your opponent to put it in really poorly. Like imagine we make it 150. I'm sorry, not 150, 110. I know 110 is not an exact min raise, but imagine we made it 110. That may induce the opponent to just rip it in with all of his draws because maybe he's on tilt and he wants to try to get there and get lucky. Alternatively, he may call with some sort of draw and then fold it to a turn bet. Like imagine he has 9-8 of hearts, right? He may call the flop re-raise and then fold to a turn jam, which would be fine. That's certainly reasonable. And obviously, if you re-raise, let's say 110 and he shoves, you have an easy call off because you're getting good pot odds then. So that's the play I'm usually not making in this scenario, but I think it's actually kind of viable in this spot because it may get the opponent to put it in really bad with a bunch of junky draws. But I think the default play here is to call.
So this is a pretty big check raise, but obviously given the strength of our hand, we're not going to give it up just yet. We make the call.
I hope we're not giving it up at all.
Turn is an interesting one. It is the ace of hearts. So we pick up top pair to go along with our nut flush draw. He does not slow down, however. He leads out for $91, a pretty sizable bet given the pot size. Again, I don't really think we can do anything here but just call and evaluate a river, which we hope to improve on now that we do have top pair. So yeah, I make the call here. The river.
All right, top pair now. This is another spot where I think a lot of people really mess up and they shove. If you shove here, you're only going to get called by better hands or like pretty good draws. Now, obviously, the pretty good draws are probably in very bad shape against our range here, but there are a lot of good made hands here that are obviously going to call it off. Any two pair or better is going to call it off, and we are in pretty marginal shape against them. That said, it's not like the worst thing in the world, right? If you ever have the nut flush draw and top pair and your opponent has like 7-4 here, like you just have loads and loads of equity. It's kind of interesting the ace of hearts came on the turn because now they could not be check raising with ace of hearts X, right? Which is the hand we would be in very good shape against. So that's worth noting. Whenever people check raise the flop, they usually have either a good made hand, good top pairs and better, or they have good draws, like flush draws with a pair, etc., or they have junkier draws. And junkier draws on 10-7 4 would be stuff like 8-5 of spades or 8 of diamonds, 5 of spades, something like that. And then also hands like ace-x of hearts for backdoor flush draw. But notice that's a little bit less likely, which means he's actually a little bit more likely to have a made hand at this point, which is actually not great unless he's drastically overvaluing a hand like Jack-10, which, you know, who knows what the tilty player's doing.
River is a dream card. Not for me, but for him if he's betting for value. It's that offsuit deuce that you love to see on the river. I don't love to see it. He thinks,
I'm all
in. I'm all in. I gotta rewind that. That was too good. All right.
He thinks,
I'm all in.
I'm all in. Oh, all right. So look, I was just about to say this is the easiest call in the world and not worry about it. Move on with your life. You have a guy who's on tilt, bluffing it off, kind of insane. But then when he does the, I'm all in. Wow. I know I can't see this player. I have no real live reads, but some things you hear and they trigger you into folding everything. You want to make me fold everything? Do, that too. I'm all in. Wow. All right. So look, I was fully planning on calling this player on basically every river. But then this happened. Does that sway my decision enough? I would just say no. I would still probably find a call. Would I be shocked to see the 5-3 of hearts? Absolutely not. Would I be shocked to see the ace-2 of spades for just some absolute nonsense? Absolutely not. But there are so many busted draws here. I know our jack is not particularly great to have in our hand because we block a lot of flush draws with the jack of diamonds. Turns out that jack of diamonds is a power card. Notice we block, queen jack of diamonds, jack 9 of diamonds, jack 8 of diamonds, jack 3 of diamonds, right? We also block some of the potential flop check raises like jack 8 offsuit, right? Jack 9 offsuit. So kind of a bummer to have that card. I probably just pay here and don't like it. You got to realize when this opponent shoves in this scenario, you need to win, a third of the time based on the current pot size? No, is it 25%? How big is the pot here? I want to listen to that guy say all in again. So pot is 320, and he's betting 175, so call it half pot. So we only need to be good here a fourth of the time or 30% of the time, something like that. Oh, God. We're probably good a third of the time here. Probably good, like, more than 30. I would bet we're good more than 30% of the time here. So I find a crying call. And I think this is much more of a crying call given the guy did the, I'm all in. But whatever. Top pair, what are you going to do?
For value, it's that offsuit deuce that you love to see on the river. I don't love to see it. He thinks,
I'm all in.
and then rips it all in for
This is just a fold when this guy does that, I'm all in. I don't know if I catch that in real time, but that's just too good.
$175. Again, this is a pretty solid size compared to the size of the pot. And now it is actually time to think about what he could have here. Interesting is that we have both of the nut flush draws covered. If he was check raising on the flop with the nut flush draw, no he wasn't. We have the nut flush draw. If he was check raising on the flop with the backdoor nut flush draw, no he wasn't, as the turn was the ace of hearts. So the flush draws are accounted for here. Maybe he could have a weaker flush draw. He could have 5-6, he could have 8-9. Both of those didn't get there.
There's a lot of those too if he's playing all those pre-flop. I don't know if Rosey's going to mention it, but the Jack of Diamonds I think is actually like pretty relevant here. Like that, the exact Jack of Diamonds is not really a card you want to have in your hand because it also blocks Jack 9 and Jack 8 and Queen Jack, all of which may check raise the flop and then go for it.
I really wish we weren't blocking the most obvious draws because that would make me comfortable in making this call given that he is tilted. But I'm going to shift his hands more towards value, towards two-pair holdings, towards sets. And I make the laydown here, guys. Let me know what you think. Obviously a weird spot. On to the next one.
On to the next one. You all know me. You give me one pair, I'm not folding. You give me the top pair, I'm not folding. The guy says, I'm all in. Then maybe you can get me to fold. Fun spot. You think that was a good fold? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. Let them know on TikTok. Check them out at Next Gen Poker. That's going to be it for today. Good luck in your games. Have a great, great week. Thank you for being here. I'll talk to you next time. Hello. Do I have your attention? Good. You know I love to give away lots of free strategy advice here on my YouTube channel, so do me a quick favor. Can you click the subscribe button right here and right down here below? Thank you. See you in the next video.